Hey, welcome to the Maximum PC No BS podcast. This is episode number 202 and being recorded today, May 7th, 2013. On today's show, we will be tackling the smaller Windows 8 tablets on the horizon. Intel talks about its brand new Atom processor, Silvermont. Is Windows 8 just like New Coke? Adobe goes all cloud. Seagate gets into the SSD game. We tackle your questions and editors. We show you our editors' picks, and we listen to Gordon vent his spleen. Thank you for checking us out. Hey, all right. Thank you for listening, everyone. We do appreciate it so much. We have a full staff here around the podcast table. We're also on video up there, too. Thank you guys for watching. Joining me today are Deputy Editor Gordon Mah Ung.
Hello.
Our Editor-in-Chief, Katherine Stevenson.
Hi there.
Online Managing Editor, Jimmy Thang.
Hello.
And Associate Editor, Tom McNamara.
Hello.
Thanks, guys. I am your podcast host, Josh Norem. I don't think anyone's called me a Nazi in a while, and I've actually been looking for negative feedback on iTunes. There hasn't been any negative feedback. So, either...
So, are you saying that you're not a Nazi then?
I don't know if we're just trying to keep this relevant and kind of semi-fast paced. So before we get started here, let's dive in real quick. We're on this is our iTunes shout out section. We're on the border of 400 reviews. We're on 395 right now. So thank you everyone who has left us a review. Do some shout outs real quick. Number one, just our review here is by a user by the name of Angry Birds Is Not a Game.
Yeah.
I don't know who that could be. Gordon, maybe?
No.
Angry Birds Is Not a Game left us 5-star review, writing, always entertaining, often informative, sometimes clean, never a bit of BS. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. Another person here named Simply Great leaves a 5-star review and writes, thank you, Maximum PC staff, for these amazing podcasts. It's good to hear about news and technology, and I also love the relaxing environment you guys indulge yourself in. Keep it going. Don't change anything. Thanks for the podcast. All right, last one, and now I like to throw one in here that's a little bit trying to give us some feedback. So to follow that up, couldn't find any iTunes comments, but I do have one from a user named Rictus on our website who commented in our last podcast. He said, guys, please try to work on the volume levels. Some voices are loud, some I can hardly hear. Other than that, keep the videos coming. So Rictus, if you're watching over there or if you're listening to the podcast, we are hopefully pretty even this time around.
Hopefully.
So
we had a guy help us out.
Josh, but Tom is a quiet talker, right?
Tom's a low talker. We're trying to get it. We're all trying to be really close to the mics right now and just make it so you guys can enjoy it and listen to it. Now there was one user who was complaining about Gordon screaming the F word. So just keep in mind, Gordon.
So don't scream it. Just say it softly.
Whisper it instead.
Well, I'm just saying you should maybe whisper it once sometimes.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
All right.
Very.
All right, so we have a lot of topics to discuss today. It's been a really busy week. It's funny, we head into this podcast room thinking, there's not much to talk about. And then as soon as we actually round it all up and look at it, there's a lot. So we're gonna sort of do these things as not super fast, but we're gonna have to be efficient with our time. So starting us off here, Katherine's gonna give us a lowdown on some rumors about some smaller Windows 8 tablets coming along. Go for it.
Okay, well, yeah, just in the last couple days, there's been some information about two different sub 10-inch Windows 8 tablets. Yesterday, a page appeared on Amazon briefly showing it was an Acer model that I believe is 8 inches. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but an 8-inch Windows tablet running a dual-core Atom, and the price for that is $380, which some people seem to think is a little high.
Yeah.
Seems really, really high.
Is it the new Atom or is it the current
It's
Atom?
the current Atom.
Although, I saw another page that had a screen grab of it, and I think it showed it had an Apple Cortex processor.
Apple A4, right?
Right, which can't be right.
Right.
So,
It's funny. Wait, sorry to interrupt you guys, but then I remember when the iPad Mini came out at $320, everyone said, "Oh my God, you've got to be joking! That's way too expensive for an 8-inch, 7-inch, whatever." Now we're talking Apple coming out at, Microsoft coming out at $379 for 8-inch. That seems like way too expensive.
No, that's Acer though, right? Is it Acer or is it Microsoft?
It's Acer.
Sorry,
it's
Acer.
an Acer Yeah, it's an Acer tablet, and it is full Windows. So
Right.
there you have your extra value.
I think they're trying to. Well, this is gonna. We're already sort of getting into our next topic, which is about Windows 8 in general. So I'll just.
So I'll just quickly add then today there was news ASUS actually announced. So yesterday that Amazon page, it was up and then it was taken down. So who knows when that product's actually going to be available, if all that information is, going to be the same if and when it is available. Presumably so, because, it was an actual product page. And then today ASUS announced, they just said sub 10-inch and that it would come in under $300. So, there you have it. And then like a month ago, there was rumor that Microsoft was going to have a 7-inch Surface. But I'm kind of wondering if Microsoft's going to stick in the hardware game. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think they have to for a little bit. I mean, they've got like a warehouse of these Surface RTs and probably Surface Pros.
Yeah, but
But
that's a
actually a whole new form factor?
Surface RT is going to end up just like the HP, Web OS stuff, where they just fire sale all of them, guaranteed.
It's going to be like disco.
I will guarantee it.
You think so? Well, why wouldn't they have just already introduced them at a low price?
They don't want to appear.
They're still they're
desperate.
Yeah, they're still in that mindset of like everything's fine.
Right.
Everything's fine. Like they're on the car that's going down the ravine, and they're not quite far enough along where they're about to say, "All right, everyone get out of the car."
Yeah, but they're going to have to, no matter what, they're going to have to cut the price of RT in ARM-based Windows, because you've got full Windows 8 notebooks or tablets coming out for under $300. Why would you buy a limited functionality ARM-based one?
And they're also competing against Android tablets, which don't have the cost of the operating system baked into the MSRP. Which
Microsoft doesn't pay anything for the operating system.
I'm saying if you get one from Asus or Acer, a Windows tablet, then there's an extra cost there. It's kind of hidden. That I think is hurting them.
Wait, let's go back to the main. Let's just go back to the main question here. Do you think that the reason that the Surface reason that Windows 8 tablets might not be as successful as iPads because of the form factor and price? Do you think the 7-inch, 8-inch will be the sweet spot?
I think the price is definitely hurting them.
Yeah, because honestly, RT, it wasn't all there because the wacky being forced into the desktop mode. It wasn't a full tablet OS. There are a lot of definitely shortcomings, but I think really for a lot of people, the price was the thing that killed them, right? I mean, if the Surface RT had come out at $300, $350, people would have said, whoa, this might be worth a look, right?
They would have said this is worth a look, and then it might have been more successful for sure. But then when people bought it, I mean, not being able to run Windows applications on it, like that just seems doomed to disaster. It just seems like
I guess that super thin form factor just cost them a lot in research and development. They tried to.
It wasn't that thin. For the RT, it was like a normal tablet thing.
That keyboard thing that was built into it, that's like super like.
But that's like a cover. So I just looked up the BOM cost, which is build of materials for people who don't know. So BOM cost for the Surface RT looks like I don't even know who to. I think iSupply, $284. Oh, manufacturing cost $13. That's a 32 gig version. $271 for the BOM cost. Once you add manufacturing, $284.
Well, how accurate are those numbers? I mean, are they factoring in labor? Are they factoring in like buying 1,000
because
units
it's
at once?
$13 for the labor, I think.
Yeah.
Distribution.
Yeah, they're fairly accurate, I think, on these costs. I don't think anybody's ever come out and said, no, these BOM cost estimates are all wrong. They base them on probably prices of the volumes that they're buying these parts in. So there's probably a little leeway, but it's probably pretty close. So $284, $271 just for the components of the Surface RT.
Right. So it's never going to be that cheap.
Right, and then, of course they also have the problem of they don't have the volume that Apple does, right? Apple's like, hey, we're going to buy your screens. It's like, how much for 85 million of these?
Right.
Okay, we'll sell for you this much.
So what's the most expensive component according to iSupply?
It's probably the same as other. Display and touchscreen, $101.
But then, okay, so these full Windows tablets, if they become smaller, isn't that sort of counter to the fact that you have this full OS and are meant to be doing all the things you would do? I mean, suddenly you have a smaller keyboard, you have a smaller screen, then what's the point of having the...
RT, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's going to be really tough for... I mean, I think everybody's recognized that from the beginning. RT's always been in a tough spot, because why not just get a full Windows 8 Atom-based notebook,
Well,
or tablet.
There was a thing yesterday where Bill Gates was interviewed yesterday, and they asked him about. He said that in his interview, he said that there are people out there using a quote-unquote iPad-like tablet. He couldn't mention them directly, or somehow that would be against his personal policy. But he said there's people using iPad-like tablets who are frustrated by the lack of a keyboard and the ability to make Office documents.
Oh, is he talking about the Nexus 7, the Nexus 10?
Well, I'm sure
talking about
that's...
the iPad.
Well,
Tablets.
and he's
just
also...
talking about
tablets.
Yeah,
Tablets.
he's including Android in
So he said that, the Surface, fixes that problem. And I think that, it certainly does, but I think that, I feel like people, at least me personally, people use tablets because they want to just be like consuming casual content. They're not like, oh, I need to make a presentation, better get my tablet out. Like that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you can buy a full-on laptop for that much money.
Yeah, it's just funny how Microsoft is like, we're going to solve this problem. And it's just like, well, yeah, is that really a problem? Like, it doesn't seem like it's a problem to me.
Right, and now we're going to make it smaller, in which case it stops being, then you're like using it for all these purposes makes less sense.
Right.
Why not just use a laptop?
It'll be interesting to see these parts. I don't think Windows 8 so far has had a killer piece of hardware just yet. There's been some decent ones, but I don't think there's been that one.
You mean as far as mobile parts? Yeah.
Mobile parts, yeah.
Sure, yeah. There has not been one Windows 8 thing that everybody says. Although, I will say, I don't think I've talked to anybody who has said that the Lenovo Yoga is not the ultimate ultra portable, right? Everybody loves the Yoga that I've talked to.
Well, one of the things that's nice about Windows 8 and mobile is that SSDs boot up like twice as fast as they do in Windows 7, and when you're working on a laptop a lot, the things shut off as a rule when you're not using it, so you're turning it on and turning it off a lot throughout the day, and if you can get to your desktop that much faster, then...
It's called standby mode.
Well, standby mode's still draining battery power.
Yeah, somewhat.
I don't like using standby mode.
How come?
Well, it's historically glitchy.
I think on Windows 7 I've had problems with my machine turning back on and then it's just not coming out of sleep mode.
Yeah, there's definitely... You can have problems. That just means you got to troubleshoot them, especially these DIY things. A lot of times it's bad USB things, a lot of bad drivers. Read our next issue for how to fix sleep issues.
Well, since we're talking about Windows 8, let's just get it over with now. We were actually arguing earlier today. Gordon and I we probably argued 150 man hours about our Windows 8. We were arguing again today, and he goes, "Save it for the podcast." So I'm gonna let Jimmy take over and tell us about Windows 8 success. We'll kind of go into it from there.
Well, if you can call it a success, I guess. Microsoft recently revealed that Windows 8 has sold over 100 million.
Oh, what a failure.
With the pinky, if you're not watching on the camera, pinky on the lips. 100 million licenses, and Gordon points out, I get being sarcastic. But, is that good? Because if you look at, while that number sounds very impressive, according to ZDNet, so this covers a 7-month time span. According to ZDNet, during the same time span, Windows 7 had more than 3 times the market share.
Or it sold over 300 million licenses in the same time frame?
Yeah. Yes.
Huh.
And just to sort of touch on a topic that we talked about earlier, it said that Windows 8 touchscreen devices make up 0.02% of all the OS market share, and then Windows RT is 0.00%.
Well,
What?
with Windows,
Windows 0.00.
Is it actually negative?
0.00.
It's like that scene from Animal House.
And
that's like
so there's a
smaller
pie
than the
chart.
margin of error.
There's a pie chart. And this includes Windows XP 7 Vista, Mac, and then there's the other section which is mostly like Linux.
But within Windows 8, what percentage is touch devices?
That's
what I'd like to know.
Yeah, they didn't provide that number, but we know that So out of the whole entire pie, Windows 8 makes up 3.82%.
Wait, this is for Windows. This is for Windows RT. Let me
So
put this.
all of Windows.
No, this is all of Windows 8.
Right, but this I'm playing a clip right here for Windows RT. Here it goes.
Who's that?
That's Dean. Dean. Whatever. Dean. Whoever. Animal House.
Go ahead.
I have to say, Jimmy. You look like you're having a Wolf Blitzer CNN moment when you're using that touch, but kind of awkwardly
let's
doing
zoom in.
it.
Let's
You
get
know, like
some-
it never works.
You have to hold it up.
John
Jimmy.
King does
Yeah,
it
so
too
if you're wondering what this is, it looks like a giant tablet.
Oh,
it's
a
actually
Windows 8 device.
It's his
Dell's-
new Galaxy.
It's his
You know
new
what, though?
phone.
It's my new
Notes.
phone, yeah.
Galaxy
that
Note
thing is actually
3
pretty-
prototype.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
It's surprisingly
You should see
thin.
him
That
doing
form fact-
FaceTime in the coffee shop.
That form factor is pretty thin and light for its size.
Yeah, I will say it's
yeah.
Dell's all-in-one that I'm reviewing. It actually comes with a stand and a keyboard and a mouse, and you can also use it as like a tablet. I don't want to derail the conversation too much. It also has like feet you can put on the table and stuff like that, which is
But
really cool.
yeah, it's actually one of those all-in-ones that feels like you could use it as a tablet. You know, it's
Yeah, I'll
Right.
just pop
it's
it on the table.
manageable.
Right now, okay. Let's get the
All
train
right,
back
all
on the
right,
fucking
right,
tracks.
right.
Whoa,
Okay.
I'm going to say
So-
this. I'm looking at a story from The Verge, and it says, now I don't know because I haven't even looked into these damn numbers. Who knows what they are? But the figures for Windows 8, 100 million, the figures are almost identical to Windows 7 early sales performance, with the company originally announcing its 100 million goal for that particular OS on April 27th, 2010.
Yeah, I don't think that 100 million is necessarily bad because,
How could it be bad? That's impossible. That's fucking fantastic.
well, is it?
Wait.
It
But
was
that's just licenses they've sold to manufacturers, Gordon.
It's a combination of everything.
Well, how many pieces are sold every year?
That's a marketing number. That's a marketing number.
Yes, it is a marketing number, but we know, even with the down numbers, there's about 375 million PCs sold a year.
well,
So if they've sold 100 million licenses in the last
7 months.
no, came out in October, right?
But
yeah,
also,
but let's also
This is
remember
data
that
for the last.
if
Well,
my point is that if those numbers are lower than they were with Windows 7 in the same time frame, it doesn't necessarily reflect badly on Windows 8 because Windows 7, a lot of people are quite happy with it, whereas that was not the case with Vista. People
Right.
were definitely ready to move
Right.
on.
Yeah,
So I
that-
think that's partly why Windows 7 was a blockbuster seller.
But also consider that a whole new device category came out with Windows 8. So shouldn't you would expect the numbers to actually be better, right?
Well, at the same time, we're also seeing notebook sales basically go away. The notebook sales they're
So it's
down something like
cannibalizing.
30%.
You mean netbooks?
Netbooks. Netbook sales have been down for the last 2 years.
Yeah, they're in
Huge
free
amounts,
fall.
right?
Yeah.
They're in the free fall.
Netbooks are supposed to be they're supposed to reach zero sales next year, I think, or 2015.
2015, they'll be
Yeah,
extinct. Is
zero.
what people are saying.
Anyways, the Financial Times today raised some hackles by comparing Windows 8 to New Coke.
Well, I think that's
They say it right here. This is the then the reason why is this. Microsoft is preparing to. This is from their article on the New Time on Financial Times. Microsoft prepares to rethink on Windows 8 flagship software. Excuse me. Microsoft is preparing. This is from the article. Microsoft is preparing to reverse course over key elements of its Windows 8 operating system, making one of the most prominent admissions of failure for the new mass-market consumer product since Coca-Cola's New Coke fiasco nearly 30 years ago.
So it sounds like the start button's coming back.
Yeah, this is based on reports that in Windows Blue they're bringing back the start button, and they're also letting people boot to desktops. So they're going to skip, basically skipping Metro. These would be considered admissions of failure, hard things for people to swallow.
Well, they're saying that the Windows 8 is inherently disaster, but I don't think that's the case. If you're using the desktop mode and you have the start button replacement, then it's been a fine operating system for me.
Hell, it was my pick last time.
Yeah.
My editor's pick last time. So
It is all bullshit.
The Financial Times just actually updated the article. At the bottom it says updated doesn't reflect Jimmy Thang has actually chosen this as his
correction.
choice.
Well, they should.
Retraction.
Things
Thing
are
is
looking up
focused.
for
should.
Windows. No, that said, there's very little excitement in the market for Windows 8. It doesn't seem like there will be increasing demand over time. The demand will either probably flatline
The
or
buzz is all mobile stuff now, Android and iPad and all that. Excitement. There's not a lot of excitement around.
What are you talking about mobile? Yeah,
Desktop
mobile
operating
right
system.
here.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the thing that Josh and I were talking about is like people calling this, and I agree with Tom. Let me say this: calling Windows 8 New Coke is fucking stupid, because New Coke was a distinct, separate product from Coca-Cola, right?
They continued to make Coke.
Does
right?
somebody actually think that fucking Microsoft is gonna like, okay, we take it back. We're not gonna sell Windows 8 anymore. Windows 7 Classic, that's what we're gonna sell for the next 5 fucking years? That is bullshit. What they're gonna do is they're gonna add the fucking start menu back and go to desktop mode, which is what they should have done in the first place. But that doesn't make Windows 8 like it's disappeared, like they're gonna stop selling it. I mean, that's just bullshit. You know, I think the comparison's wrong. And let me point out that when New Coke came out, Coca-Cola was losing the cola wars to Pepsi. By the time, I don't know, 6 months later, after the New Coke fiasco, Coca-Cola was outselling Pepsi.
Which made some people believe that it was just a marketing stunt.
Right, but apparently that's not right. They screwed up. They didn't know what they were doing with Coca-Cola. But basically, by the time no one was fired over the whole New Coke disaster, and it was a tremendous success for the company in the end. That's why I think it's bullshit. The Financial Times, it's just
how did that even? I mean, I don't want to like take it off topic too much, but how did New Coke help Coca-Cola?
Well, because what it did is it helped Coke realize what people liked, which is Coca-Cola, and then also when people thought Coca-Cola was going away, people got angry. And I think it made Coke realize how much people love the brand of Coca-Cola.
So you're saying this whole entire Windows 8 without a start button is actually a brilliant marketing strategy?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's ridiculous. That if people think it's not going to go away, they're going to do the right thing. They're going to make Windows 8 what it should have been in the first place. It's a better OS than Windows 7. Once you put a start menu and a desktop mode as a start and back into it, right? I mean, who wouldn't agree, right? It's a better OS.
It even has
once they do that
flat aesthetic, which is becoming popular now.
Right. And then once frankly, Metro has some application. If you have a tablet or whatever, you can pull it up. But for most people with a desktop, you're going to want a desktop mode. That's why I think the whole New Coke thing, total bullshit, wrong. Everybody's wrong.
All right.
Okay.
I don't want to get this. I don't want to get us dragged into another long Windows 8 thing, because the end result is that I use Windows 8. Most of us here use Windows 8, and we're pretty okay with it. After going through a severe hatred of it, kind of when you first start using it, it's really frustrating, and then eventually you're like, all right, this isn't too. Now that I've sort of figured it out, and I have either classic shell or some sort of start button thing, it's not too bad, but. I feel like this is we could just jump into this hole and stay there forever. So. Let's get moving on to our next topic. Gordon, do you want to talk about the new Atom?
Okay, there's not much time, so I'm going to bring it up. I'm calling it Atom 2. Intel actually has not named it. They're talking about the next generation of Atom. I'm going to hope they either don't use Atom or they call it Atom 2, because the original Atom, as we all know, was a piece of crap.
How
right?
would they? But didn't they show that slide of all the Atom processors?
Yeah, the silver. Whatever.
Yeah, they're gonna keep calling it Atom.
Well, I don't know. No, they didn't. Those are the code names for the family. It's called Meet the New. I forget what the slide said, but anyway. So this new Atom, which we're calling it Atom 2. Or Atom i7, or Atom 2 Duo, or New Atom, is codenamed Silvermont. It's going to be built on the same 22-nanometer process as Ivory Bridge. The big deal is this chip is not a slow piece of crap like all the previous ones, and I have said that over and over and over and over again. I hated netbooks. I hated Atom. In previous iterations, they were just terrible trying to push Windows 7 along Windows XP. They were not good chips at that. But this new chip, Intel has gone through. They've redesigned everything. Big deal. The old Atom basically was a 5-year-old design. It was sort of like Pentium 4. They came out with this chip. It was going to sit around for 5 years. Intel's realized we can't do that with this chip. So this new chip will come out. We'll probably have parts, within the next 5 months. Who knows, this summer. Definitely before Christmas. And then next year we'll see a 14-nanometer version. So tick. And then after that, there will be a talk version, another 14-nanometer version. So basically, Atom will get the same treatment that Intel did the Core 2 that they needed very badly to beat AMD when they were losing horribly with the Pentium 4. The key changes is the original Atom was an in-order processor. The new one is an out-of-order processor. The best way I think to explain it is you're in a line getting food. Right, an in-order processor. So there's a huge buffet line. You're the first guy. You grab your plate. You go. You get the chicken. You get the rice. You get the potato. You get the dessert. You put it on there, and you're like, oh fuck, I forgot my silverware. So besides everybody having to wait for you to go forward, for you to get your silverware in an in-order processor, everybody has to back the fuck up. You go back, you get your fork, and then you go forward and continue. So it's massively slow. The reason why Intel did it, saves a lot of power, doesn't take up any space. The new version is out of order, which is a whole bunch of people in a buffet line, right? So you're the slow asshole picking through all the chicken, looking for the one you want, but somebody behind you doesn't want the chicken or the rice. They just want to go get the dessert. They can jump ahead of you, go get the dessert, get the Diet Coke, get the fuck out of line. It's over,
And
right?
I'm hungry.
And you're hungry, but I mean, you can see the advantages.
What about the power?
So power, they're saying basically 3 times faster than current Atom, peak performance, and then 5 times less power. And also they're saying this new Atom will kick the holy shit out of any of the top-end ARM processors by several magnitude of, I think they're saying 3 to 4x, and then a lot less power. They're saying like the ARM, the quad-core ARM top-end, well, they're not even calling it ARM, but everybody knew what they're talking about. They're saying the quad-core ARMs will have to use more power, and they still will not be faster than a dual-core Atom, new Atom, Atom 2, Atom i7, whatever you want to call it.
With the bad rap of the old Atom and it not sharing any, the new Atom not sharing any DNA with the new one, it seems like they should just go with a new name altogether.
Yeah, that's I know, right? I mean, it's just, I've told this over and over again. Everybody hates Atom. Everybody's experience with Atom was, oh, that shitty netbook I got from my AT&T or Verizon for $300.
You know what though? It's hard to name those processors because you don't want to name it something that's too big and badass. Then people think, oh, it's going to suck down all the battery juice. You have to think of something that's light
and isn't like copyrighted.
Fast,
molecule,
copyrighted,
Nucleon.
Yeah,
I saw something on the website that's pretty good. One reader said they should call it like a Core i2. You know, that's not bad. You know, it's definitely slower. It's less, but then they have Pentium and they have Celeron. Those are even more performance.
And if it's not based on core tech, then that might be kind of misleading.
Well, it is. I mean, in fact, they're saying a lot of. I mean, it's going to get a ton of technology from the Westmere cores.
Okay.
So those are in Gulftown. Those 6-core. A lot of the AES-NI, a bunch of SSE, blah 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 blah.
So this is going to be coming out into Ultrabooks and to tablets and whatnot later this year with Haswell.
I don't think it'll be in Ultrabooks. You'll see it in basically really thin. Netbook-like, probably. Mostly you're going to see it in basically phones. You'll see it in tablets. You'll see it in microservers. They have variants from 8 cores to 2 cores, and they're actually these dual-core modules. But unlike AMD, which actually shares processor resources, these are actually 2 discrete, separate cores, but they share the same die.
Well, I'm sure you'll see it in like the convertible, the hybrid type of notebook tablet.
Yeah, you'll see it, but a lot. It's going to be a really low power part still, low cost. So think rebirth of the netbook. I don't know if they ever want to visit that again. I know, Intel and Microsoft really were never big fans of the netbook in the first place because they didn't sell for a lot of money. But phones, tablets, servers.
Tablets have taken over the netbook space, and just like when we had netbooks and we thought they were the best thing ever because they were so affordable and so easy to use. Later on, we looked at them and thought, what are we thinking? These are pieces of shit. Tablets have now become the new netbooks, and it's possible in a couple of years we might be like, those tablets sucked.
Sure.
So we will have to see.
Why not? I mean, honestly, although it's probably up to the OS maker, but I mean. Does that happen with older Android or older iPads?
The thing is that with
do they get too slow?
With tablets, the market's kind of going up and also going down, whereas with netbooks, they're sort of in the race to the bottom to create the cheapest possible device, and it just ended up hurting.
They're not doing that with tablets?
That's happening now. It's happening now with tablets and with notebooks.
I think the market for tablets is spreading in both directions.
Huh?
I mean, you have the iPads on one end, and then
but Apple went from 500 to 329.
Yeah.
And then now there's rumors that there might be like a cheaper version of the iPhone coming out that could theoretically follow a cheaper version of iPad too.
Right, and these Windows 8 tablets, which are going to be
Windows 8
cheaper,
tablets are now down to $300.
In Apple's case, I think that they probably just had a high price premium where they can afford to just slash the costs or slash the price if they want to and still make a lot of money.
Well, Apple hasn't. Yeah, but there's also the other factor with Apple is they're not just trying to earn money; they're trying to protect their brand.
And they're losing, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they could probably sell an iPad Mini for what $100 if they really wanted to.
I don't know about that cheap, but
all right, $200 then easily.
Yeah, I'm sure they could match Nexus 7, but it's just interesting. The figures you see for Apple's iOS tablet share. And then let's still give them credit. They're making a fucking shitload of money off of them. But they are, I mean, 3 years ago, 95% of the market. 2 years ago, 80% of the market, still an Apple market. And like I swear to God, it was like last year they're down to like 60, and they're saying they'll be at like 40% within a year. Android is just, it's an unstoppable monster.
Yeah, the last numbers I looked at for Apple said that the tablet market they had 40%.
Right, that's crazy.
That's still a shitload, but that's crazy that they've gone from 80 to 40 in 1 year basically.
They're not going to compete on price, and then now you can get tablets that cost like half as much as the iPad or the iPad Mini, and so that's going to create market share for other people, because they want to maintain the premium feel of the brand.
Yeah, but they're being forced to cut prices. They keep cutting prices on everything because they have to. They're under a lot of pressure. Even their loyal users want cheaper products.
With their stock price continuing to fall, then they have to make changes somehow, somewhere, experiment with things.
I think they broke their people talk about Apple like they're in some dire straits, and yeah, their stock is down at $400. But
wouldn't you like to be in the dire straits of $150 billion in the bank?
Yeah, I think you're exaggerating there.
Well, a lot of that money is overseas, and they can't bring it back into the U.S. without getting hit with a lot of federal taxes.
Dutch
still,
they have the double Dutch thing, dude. Don't worry about that.
They have a double Dutch. You mean the rap song?
No, them and Google. There's the whole thing where they move all their money through like Netherlands or something like that. It's called the Dutch.
Well, they have to leave the money overseas until they get like a tax holiday, which they got once a couple of years ago.
No, they do that every year. Google does the same thing. At least if I can find it.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, it's all right.
Skirt around paying taxes.
It's called the double. Yeah, it's called the Dutch. It's called the Dutch sandwich, I think.
That's where I store all my money too.
I think like double Dutch is like
double
something
Irish
in like some sort of game that kids play or something.
It's a jump rope thing.
Yeah, treetop.
You guys have never heard double Dutch posts.
Here we go. The double Irish arrangement is a tax avoidance strategy the U.S.-based multinational corporations like Apple and Google use to lower their corporate tax rate. The strategy uses payments between related entities in a corporate structure to shift income from a higher tax country like the U.S. to a lower tax country like Ireland. It relies on the fact that Irish law does not include U.S. transfer pricing rules. Specifically, Ireland uses territorial blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they send it all to Ireland and go, oh, we made this all money in Ireland. Anyways, so.
Scam.
Yeah. All right.
Why can't we scam people? I'm not saying, what I'm saying is, how come we can't scam the government like that?
Our lawyers aren't as sophisticated.
Right.
Yeah, we can't.
You mean Maximum PC or Future?
Oh, our lawyers? You mean that
Maximum...
that shareware program I bought online?
You mean Maximum PC podcast and our juggernaut of all right. Well, let's. We talked about Windows 8. We talked about Atom. Let's get into some actual hardware here. So I've got a little bit of news here. We've got today is May 7th. Today is the day that Seagate has finally pulled the wraps off of its first client SSD. They've been sitting on the sidelines of the SSD world now for a couple of years. I mean, since it started. So when I talked to them last year and this December for technology preview, I said, any plans on SSD? And they said, yeah. They said, we can't say definitively yes, but if you look at what's happening in the market and look at who we are as a company, it's pretty hard to come to any other conclusion. And I said, okay. And then they said, however, we also think hybrid hard drives are the way to go, because Seagate was really big into that. So anyways, today is the day they would launch these drives. I'm going to hold one up to the camera here if you want to see it. It looks like just a normal SSD. This is basically a Corsair Neutron GTX drive and with a different shell around it. And the real kicker on this thing, so this uses the LAMD Link A media controller, same as the Corsair Neutron GTX. Prior to these drives coming out, the Corsair was the only company in the industry to offer that controller. So this is number 2, and it's custom firmware, of course. 19 nanometer. I believe it's Samsung NAND flash, MLC NAND flash, same exact. And Corsair. So this is interesting. In the Corsair Neutron GTX, they originally had 24 nanometer Toshiba MLC NAND, right? They just switched all their drives, all the Neutron drives, over to the exact same NAND this drive uses. Oh. So they're also using the 19 nanometer MLC NAND. I think it's actually Micron. I don't know. I don't have it right in front of me. But so, anyways, this drive and the Seagate 600 SSD and the Corsair Neutron GTX, exact same NAND, exact same controller.
So, what do we know about pricing and?
So so the main problem with these Seagate drives, we've tested them. They're fast. They're definitely not what people would consider to be slow. They're good. 3-year warranty on this one, so it's kind of competing against the Neutron, the normal Neutron. The Neutron GTX is 5-year warranty. So this is a consumer level drive. I don't think it's going to compete with the Samsung 840 Pro or anything like that, or the Neutron GTX or the Vector, the high end of the market. It'll probably just be, affordable and fast and from, big company. So.
Oh. Yeah.
We have
Anyways,
it on camera.
Stealing it or rubbing it
we don't
on
know
your
what the
butt?
pricing is. That was the only detail left out of the announcement was pricing. So it's just like
Competitive is what
Yeah.
they say.
competitive pricing. We went around and around with Seagate on this, and they would not let us know what the price was. And finally, we were like, "Well, you're launching it on Tuesday, right?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you're going to have that information on the launch?" And they said, "No." So we were like, "What?"
They're just playing hard to get, man.
So even today, like Anand has his review up, and it just says pricing to be determined.
You just write them a blank check, and then they'll follow that later.
Yeah.
I went to Newegg actually, and I went to try to add to my cart, and it let me do it, and said checkout, and it said,
competitive.
"Well, no,
We don't know how much
we
to
don't know
charge
how
you."
much." So
It's going to be, what's funny is the Neutron, we looked up the prices. The Neutron GTX right now for 256 is around $230, so it's right there below $1. This drive, I mean, if it comes in around 180 or so, that'll be pretty compelling. But what's happening right now in the market is we used to have just a couple of good drives and a bunch of really, really bad ones. Now we've got a whole bunch of really good drives to choose from. So it's kind of, and they're all really, really close in performance because
it's
they're
gotten
all
pretty
kind of
boring, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they're all kind of tapping out on the SATA 6 interface, and we're not going to see SATA Express until Broadwell. We're talking about after Haswell, after Ivy Bridge E.
There's got to be an adding card.
Well, yeah, there's
you know.
PCI Express. That has a lot of bandwidth, but it's not exactly the best solution.
Well, the point is that all these, or I should say, your guys' points are valid, but it looks like basically at this point, almost all the SSDs in the market are all going to be sitting right there around 520, 530 megabytes a second, just tapped out on that interface, and right now there's nothing we can really do about it.
But on the other hand, it's like the difference between booting Windows 8 in 7 seconds and booting it in 6 or 5 seconds right now. Unless you're moving around large files, then it doesn't really seem to make much difference in the day-to-day operation of the desktop.
You mean going to SATA Express?
Well, going from like 500 megabytes per second to 600 or 700,
Well, we don't know what you'd get out of the SATA Express, right? Could double the performance if they're all just bottleneck. We don't really know how fast they'll go, right?
It's funny with the modern day SSDs, just using a computer nowadays, like opening your browser, opening Word, moving files around, it's pretty much instant. It's pretty damn fast. So the only time I ever see, I have SSD at home, the only time I ever see slowdowns are like when I open Photoshop. That might take 4 seconds, which is not, when I open InDesign here at work, I have a hard drive here at work, that takes probably 45 seconds to open.
Wow.
I don't know how long it takes you guys, but
Not
it's
that
like
long.
So
Yeah, some
slow.
computer
broke
I gotta say, my machine's actually pretty fast here.
Yeah, we all use Dell little, what I don't know what you call those, like
workstations.
yeah,
Work
Dell
issue
workstations.
machines.
Can you put an SSD in that work machine, or will they?
They would not support it.
They would.
Oh,
not
IT
support it.
department.
Yeah, it's too bad because in the old days they actually let us just whatever we could. And there were people who ran their own boxes. They'd install all the software that we needed, but now they're like, no, we're not going to support it. So we just let them deal with all the problems.
Yeah, we still call IT once in a while, just because there's times where there's issues that are network related or sort of above our pay grade. But in general,
Well, no, even though it's somebody else can fix it. It's like I'm gonna go outside. I have a Coke.
or
You,
that. Yeah,
you
there's
work
that,
on this.
There's that too. I saw Gordon call IT.
You just got to right mouse click, and here's the start button and shut down. Oh, okay, thanks.
I saw Gordon submit an IT ticket the other day because he had a virus on his computer. I'm not shitting you.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. That'd be pretty funny though. All right, so just recap real quickly.
But I would, because I'm not going to fix it.
Do you guys remember? Last time I was here, last time I worked at Maximum PC, I remember one time I came back from a break or from being away from my computer, and I sat down on my desk, and I went to click the icons on my desktop, and none of them were clickable.
Oh, that was a great one.
Somebody replaced. Okay.
And I was like, "What the?" And like, I remember just like I could see them, but I couldn't click on anything at all. So I was like, "What the?"
It was a JPEG screen cap.
Could not believe it.
Yeah.
So I had been in my desk and then like walked away for like a minute and then came back, and they wasn't gone that long.
That was Will, I think.
That's what I would guess.
Yeah, I came back, and then
Classic
so
Will.
I called IT on the phone, and I said, I can't click on any icons on my desktop, and they said, oh well, that's weird. You know, they said, have you updated your video drivers? And I was like, I don't know. You know, it was like it was really embarrassing. And then when I finally, I submitted an IT ticket for it. It's so stupid.
They were in on it. I believe.
Yeah, and then they go, all right, we're gonna update your drivers and just leave your computer for a while. So I went to lunch when I came back. They were like, all fixed, and I could and I found out later on they had just taken a screenshot of my desktop and made the wallpaper.
I think it was Will.
Icon.
Will had done it,
And then they hid the taskbar on the bottom.
or maybe it was Kristen.
Yeah.
You know, the other one we did is if you have a cordless mouse, you put the dongle in another USB port, and then as they're typing, or you have a mouse and keyboard, and then as you're typing and they're doing stuff, you start moving the mouse and stuff. So they think there's something wrong with the mouse.
There's a USB key. There's a USB key at ThinkGeek that lets you do. If you plug it in someone's computer without them knowing, you can. There's little switches in the back of it, and one of them is keyboard. And one of them is mouse, one's keyboard, one's cap lock, and there's one other one. Basically, when you put it in the person's computer, if they're typing, it'll start flipping the caps lock key on and off.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Wait,
yeah,
so
it's pretty good.
the keyboard has to be wireless, though, I'm guessing, or does it not matter?
Doesn't matter. I mean, it's better. It's better. Obviously, it's better. No, this is on a. You can just plug it in the back of someone's tower. They're not going to know it's even there.
Okay.
So then if it's on the mouse, if you turn the mouse switch on when they're using their mouse, it'll just start wiggling the mouse all over the place. Like they'll be trying to close a window and it won't quite get there. It's pretty funny. And then what the last one is. Yeah, there's that one. There's also the Annoyatron. If you want to bug the shit out of somebody, that's the way to do it. Annoyatron just emits a loud beeping noise at a really irregular interval, enough that the person can never figure out where it is, but they keep hearing it over and over and over again. It's pretty funny. All right, so just to close this off here on SSDs, the market right now is looking pretty crowded. So at the very top of the market, just so you guys who know what's going on, the number one drive right now is Samsung 840 Pro. It was almost a 10 kick-ass when it was released. It was smoking fast, every possible test, 5-year warranty, amazing software. I mean, it's about as good as you can get. It's really, really good. OCZ Vector is also our number 2, and it is neck and neck. And those two kind of occupy the very top of the market. Right below them, we have the Neutron GTX from Corsair, and I'd probably say the Crucial M500 is in there too. These are all over 500, but not quite at the very, very top. And then below that, you've got like Intel drives that are nothing special, but that are reliable. And then
Vertex.
The Samsung
no.
The Samsung 830 is also pretty good if you can still find one in stock. They've been discontinued.
Oh, Samsung 830. Yeah, so 830 has been discontinued. Then replaced with the 840. And now the 840 is actually really cheap. I think you can get the 500 gig 840 for around $370. Something like that, and those are super, super fast.
Yeah, well, the lower you go in capacity with the regular 840, the more drastically slower the write speed goes. So you got to watch out for that. Once you get down to 128, it gets around like 130 megabytes per second max sequential write. So
bad times. All right, so our last news story is from Tom. Take it away, Tom. This is all about Adobe going into the cloud.
Yeah, so a little over a year ago, Adobe started this program called Creative Cloud, where if you want to, instead of buying Photoshop or Illustrator or Dreamweaver or Premiere, you would rent monthly access to it. You could get the whole Creative Suite for $50 a month, or you could get the individual applications for $20 a month. And they're like, yeah, so you can do that. Or you can still keep buying CS6, the Creative Suite 6, the bundle. And then just a couple days ago, they said, yeah, we're not going to do those Creative Suites anymore. You're not going to be able to buy any. We're not going to make a Creative Suite 7 or 8 or 9 or any other Creative Suite ever again. So if you want to keep using our products and in the up-to-date versions and with new versions in the future, this is the only thing that we're going to do, the Creative Cloud. So I hope you brought your credit card.
And you actually have to be online to use it at all times, or is there offline mode too?
Well, apparently how it works is that you log in like once a month. It'll check to see if your license is active. You have to log in like once a month, and if you like stop your payments, or if you run out of money, or there's some other connection problem, then you get locked out.
But you can use it offline. It stores locally.
Right, you basically turn on the machine that you're using at that moment.
So it's kind of like it's they call it the Creative Cloud, but you're not actually uploading your videos or your pictures automatically into the cloud, because obviously that's a lot of data. going back and forth, especially if you're doing like uncompressed HD.
Your login is really in the cloud is what it is.
Yeah.
And you turn on the machine that you're using. And the cool thing is, to the advantage is you could have 7 machines, have it installed on all 7, and move between them and use it. Of course, you can only have one active at a time.
Yeah.
And there's no limit since there's only one active at a time. You can.
This seems like a pretty logical. I mean, everyone on our website was like really upset about this because they were like, "What if my internet connection sucks?" and just on and on and on and on and on. But it seems like, I mean, the writing's on the wall. I mean, how when was the last time anyone of us bought software other than through the cloud?
When was the last time somebody bought Photoshop? I think is the other problem is that they need to address piracy, I think, and that this is the option that they chose.
Well, not even that, but also a lot of people, and then this is why people are pissed off. For a lot of people, Photoshop 7 is fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Wait,
so
which one is Photoshop 7?
That's before CS.
Okay.
So 7, CS, CS2 through Photoshop 6, right? So it's like 7 versions ago. A lot of people still rolling Photoshop 7. It does everything they need. They bought it once. They have to never mess with it again. You can no longer do that once they go live with.
Well, you can't use it?
Well, no, you can't. Yeah, if you have an old version, yeah, you could. But what's happened, you can't. So right now you can buy CS6. You will not be able to buy CS7.
Yeah, it won't exist ever.
There will not be a CS7.
So there will not be a CS7.
So if you have CS6 and then suddenly there's a brand new feature, content aware XYZ.
Yeah, you're not going to see that in CS6.
Right, but it's only going to be available in whatever the version number they have, and then you have to basically subscribe to. Well, yeah. So I don't get it. So if you have CS6 and you want to, are they going to just charge you?
No. So CF7, if you're saying if you have in the cloud, this is the cool thing for some people. If you do the cloud thing, $50 a month, you basically get access to all the products, all the updates.
Yeah.
Because you're paying for it. $50 a month.
Yeah, Creative Suite is now Creative Cloud.
Right.
That they're transitioning from one to the other.
Right. But the problem is for people who okay, I'm going to buy CS7 and I'm just going to use that version for the next 10 years. That's not going to happen anymore. Because you cannot, there is no option to just buy it outright. You can only subscribe to it.
Right. And then what about doing a rental for like 1 month?
Yeah, you can do that. So, right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's $50 you said, right?
I don't think it's, it sounds like where the future is going to be headed for software and stuff.
I'm not sure how much it's going to reduce piracy though, because
it's not just about piracy.
But it seems like you can download the client and then someone's going to find a hack and then they'll distribute that version, the hacked version.
Right. I think
it certainly makes it harder though. That's for sure.
I think the main reason they do it is there are people who are like, hey, I've got CS3. Why do I need to pay $400 to upgrade to the whole thing for CS7?
They don't want people hanging on to that
one.
Right.
So this way, everybody pays $600 a year, every year, forever.
That's really expensive.
The problem there is that if you want like an educational or student license, those usually cost like half as much as the actual full thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what they're doing for education.
$350 for.
I bet there's some option for students.
I haven't been able to find it on the website. I've been looking up and down, and it's just like, I think you get like a 60% off discount for the full suite. If it goes from like 30 to 20, but there is no discount for individual. There's no student discount.
Yeah, but once they're in the cloud, so the cloud version, I don't know if there will be a student discount. Will there?
It sounds like there won't be.
I think this new methodology
individual programs.
It doesn't really appeal to users like me because. I mean, I use Photoshop not every day, every now and then, but I take comfort in knowing the fact that, well, I have it installed on my computer. It's there, whenever I need it, and I might use it like a couple months down the road, or maybe a year or two down the road. It's like, I could just fire that up, and I need to do a project or something like that. And now it's like I have to worry about, I have to pay this monthly fee again to use it for this one project that I wanted to do like a year later or something.
But you can get it like month to month, right? Like
you can get it, yeah. You can.
But I'm saying I use it very sporadically.
Yeah.
So it's like it's nice to know. It's like, I had that program. I can just boot up my computer, do the project, and then I'm done with it. As opposed to like, now I want to do this one project, and then like I have to pay this monthly fee just for this one assignment. It's just really.
Well, but then to be fair, if you were the person that went out and you paid $600 for Photoshop. If you only use it once every 6 months, you'd pay whatever, $30 to use Photoshop for 1 month. Power it down, you don't use it for 8 months. 8 months later, you power it up, you get the latest version of Photoshop, you do what you want. That's going to save you money in the long run if you're the person who
Yeah, there is the argument there, but I just think like for people like me, it's comforting to know that you can access that program anytime. You just paid that one-time fee and you're good to go. I think people really like that feeling. And you kind of just remove that with this whole entire new subscription thing. So I think that's why people are.
But I think Josh is right. This is the model everybody wants to push everybody to, right?
Eventually, we won't have any. There won't be any game. You won't be buying games for your console, games for your computer, software for your computer. It'll all be just all through the internet, just like music is going to be too. Same thing. No more music stores.
Well, would you consider Steam like a part of that already? I mean, they're kind of doing that too.
Yeah, but you buy the game outright on Steam. It would be like you
No,
buying
you do not. You don't buy the game.
Well, you buy a license.
Yeah, you're buying a license for the game. You don't own the game.
But what I'm saying, you don't own the game. Nobody owns anything.
Media.
But what I'm saying though is, I buy Left 4 Dead 2.
You license it, Gordon,
or whatever. But I buy it for $50. It's not like, oh, you can buy Left 4 Dead 2 for $3 every month.
Well, what kind of
for the next 40 months?
What kind of bothers me is that there's no price competition now for Photoshop and the other products. You have to go through Adobe, and you have to accept the price that they want to charge you. And if you don't like it, well, there's the door.
Well, I think there was a lot of price fixing with Adobe anyway, right? I mean, it's not like you could go out to. You could actually buy a legitimate copy of CS6 for $80 anywhere.
Yeah, because you can also find old versions of Photoshop that are perfectly usable and buy it for like $100.
Sure.
And that's not going to be an option anymore.
But that's going away for everybody, right? I mean, there's all these rumors that Microsoft will kill used games in the next Xbox.
Probably won't happen, but we'll have to wait
and you
see.
Can't sell games on Steam.
I think people also are still having a negative reaction to the word cloud. Because, I mean, granted, it's been overused, but it is pretty damn cool. Everyone who uses Gmail should appreciate what the cloud has to offer, or SkyDrive, or Google Drive, or
when
Dropbox.
It works.
The cloud is pretty cool when it
works.
All right, we are going to get into reader questions now, you guys. We have some questions from Facebook and Twitter. Let's start on Twitter. All right, let's start on Twitter. Why are there so many? This is from TSANG. Twitter handle is Thang. Max PC, why are there so many refurb OCZ SSDs on sale? Is it not a good idea to buy them, and are refurb PC parts generally a bad idea? Katherine?
I defer to Gordon on that.
I would not buy refurbished storage devices.
Right. Wait.
CPU, motherboard,
Whoa.
all that. I don't care. They nuke, I replace it. Your hard drive or SSD explodes, you're going to go, why did I not spend the extra $30 for a new part?
Why do you care about storage though? You should always have your storage thing, your medium, backed up no matter what. Even if it's brand new out of the box, it's just as unreliable as a refurbished OCZ product.
Doesn't matter. There's two things you don't cheap out on: submarines and sushi. Okay.
And
to
storage.
answer the guy's particular
and storage, you don't cheap out.
I cheap out on sushi sometimes, and I turned out okay. Well, maybe not.
Right. See?
Our director cheaped out on donuts. He said he paid $5. Anyways, go ahead.
To answer the guy's particular concern, the reason he's seeing so many OCC refurbs is because they had some issues with the early version of the SandForce controller, the 2281.
Didn't everybody have problems with some of those controllers?
Yeah, they don't use those anymore. I don't think anybody uses that particular version anymore. But back when the whole technology was new and nobody really knew what was going on, they just went with a lot of people went with SandForce, and it turned out to be a bad call.
So do the refurbs have different controllers, or?
Corsair had a recall. OCZ had a recall. I mean, these are what we refer to as the early days that really sucked for SSDs. Things are much better now. I can't even imagine this technology has been maturing for a while now.
Yeah, but there's still issues. I was reading about a paper the other day where they said they tested like 15 SSDs, and they tested what would happen if you just unplugged the power, and it turned out that 13 of them had corrupted data when you did that. So there's still some issues that need to be worked out.
But to get back to the question, I mean, Gordon, you have said there are refurb parts are there are some categories where it's
I would,
totally fine.
yeah, I would buy a sound card. I would buy a video card.
CPU, motherboard. Well, motherboard even.
The whole thing
a
is just
little-
weird. By time someone sells it to be refurbished, I mean, this technology has such a short lifespan. It just seems weird to have someone selling something to be refurbished.
Well,
It
and
also
it's
depends on
fair.
the store because some refurbs are just they throw it in a box and then they slap some tape on it, they put it back on the shelf, whereas another store, a refurb is actually, fully reconditioned.
Right. There's different definitions of refurb. There's different ways you have to handle it. I do think you should pay closely attention to how the warranty policy is done on the refurb, right? Some stores, you bring it back to them. Some of you have to deal with the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Some of them have limited warranties. Some of them are, like I wouldn't buy as is. I'd want a warranty if I'm going to go buy something retail.
And then some of them won't give you a refund. They'll only give you a replacement.
Right. But I mean, honestly, to me, it just seems like buying. It's like buying a refurb tire, right? Are you going to buy a refurb tire, put that on your car, driving the freeway at 80 miles an hour? No.
Got to be careful with your data.
They call retreads.
Yeah, I've
Remember
been
those?
burned by reverbs quite a bit, so I try to stay clear of them whenever I can.
But I mean, definitely, don't you think like the one thing you definitely would stay away from is storage? You still have to have your
Yeah.
backup no matter what, but come on.
Right.
I've had brand new SSDs fail. I personally probably wouldn't do it. I was just joking before, but but my point is the same though. You could take an SSD right out of the box, brand new from Intel or Samsung or whoever, and it could still fail on you. There's no guarantees on any of this stuff. So
Sure.
This just compounds the issue, though.
You want to go in brand new in that case.
All right, Logan asks, Z87 boards are shipping now. These are Haswell boards are appearing. Can we expect more than 2 SATA 3 ports on the native chipset?
Yes. I don't even remember. Yeah, I think all that's been previewed. You'll get, I'm hoping not breaking any NDAs, but you will get 6 SATA 6 ports. Intel finally catches up to AMD on SATA ports, basically.
I think Gigabyte is already talking about their Z87 boards. I seem to remember
good.
on their website.
So you will get it.
Yeah, the AMD 990FX boards has always had 6 SATA 6.
Yeah, they've had native SATA 6 for a long, long time. Oh, and then additional USB 3 ports.
All right, so that is good news for us Intel users. Bionic Man 6 asks, I reinstalled an Inspiron M5010 OS and it's still booting, takes 5 minutes and occasionally freezes for a few seconds. What should I do next?
Inspiron, that's the Dell laptop.
Yeah.
When I was a
I would have to look
technician,
that one up.
when I was a technician, people would bring their notebooks in all the time. Probably our most popular job, other than have a virus, our most popular job was someone brings their notebook in and says, it is slow as hell. What do I do? It is slow. It takes so
Wait,
long.
what model was that again?
Well, this is for any model.
No, what models
This
is
is
it?
Inspiron M5010.
So it's just
what we would do is we'd open msconfig and look at that and uncheck all those items there that needed to be unchecked. We would uninstall whatever virus they were running because most times it was whatever Dell had installed at the factory, usually McAfee or Norton. We'd uninstall that. We would
probably defrag.
We wouldn't defrag. We would just uninstall. We would just look and see what's running and just kind of uninstall all that stuff. We would do a virus scan, it's just kind of a tune-up on it. It would usually
What did this guy say the problem was?
So,
Took like 5 minutes.
5 minutes to boot.
and he's still just getting
With
errors,
occasional
right?
freezes for a few seconds.
Well,
Yeah.
first, so people know the Inspiron M5010 was apparently an Athlon 2 2.1 gigahertz with a hard drive, of course.
It's a little pokey.
So it's not going to be super fast.
Well, the reason we're answering, he asked us this question, but what can people out there do if their system is just slow in general or it takes forever to boot?
Put an SSD in there. But
Yeah,
that's not going to
this
fix
is laptop.
his particular issue. 5 minutes that it's taken too long. You might want to check.
You've definitely got crap you have to uninstall.
Yeah, I would I'd wipe it out. I would not, well, SSDs are pretty cheap, but honestly, are you going to put a $100 SSD into this thing?
On my home computer, I have all my OS stuff on my on my boot drive, and then everything that's is related to data, whether it's my documents, my pictures, my everything, that's all on separate drives that are not part of my OS. In case something like this happens and you need to nuke your OS, you can just nuke your OS, then reconnect all the folders to your data, and I can get back within probably 45 minutes. Brand new, nuke it, reinstall, everything redone, Chrome re-downloaded. Back.
I have a hard time believing that.
I don't have that much stuff. I don't have that much actual software on my computer other than Photoshop.
Because once I finally moved everything into my machine, I've got everything set up just perfectly. Got all the applications, located all the damn license keys, installed all. Man, that takes like hours and hours and hours.
I don't have that much software, dude. All right,
So do a clean install. That guy should do a clean install or put an SSD in.
I'm just saying.
Clean install.
I'm just saying that's also another reason too that if you
I'd
want
blow it away.
Try that first, right?
Just back up your data first.
Also, I'd like to say, according to Amazon, from 20 different reviewers, that laptop got like a 1.5 star.
Average score, yeah.
So it sounds like it's just a bad laptop too.
So yeah, don't forget your browser bookmarks too. I always forget those when I'm about to back up my data.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Chrome Sync. Although I have to say, listen to this, you guys. I actually just switched back from Chrome back to Firefox.
Oh, Firefox has sync as well.
Why?
Dude, Chrome did this thing to me. Did this 3 times in a row, and the last time I did it, I was so close to giving it to the curb. And I was like, nah, I need it still. I need to get everything off of it. And basically what happened was my Windows PC at home would just update itself. So I'd come out in the morning and look at my computer, and it would be like, oh, it's rebooted. That's interesting. I turn it on and it said Windows installed updates. Okay, great. I would press the Chrome icon, and nothing would happen. Not a single thing. Nothing opens. There's no error. Just nothing. Right? No activity at all. And you go under Task Manager, nothing's running. There's no processes running. There's nothing running. Nothing happens at all. So
that's
you're like,
really difficult to troubleshoot.
Yeah. So you're like,
what do you Google for?
So I opened up. I actually have Safari installed as like a secondary browser. So I open that up, and I Google. Chrome won't open. And then you get all these things. So anyway, so eventually they're like, okay, reinstall Chrome. So I'm like, all right, no problem. Download Chrome. Go to a control panel, uninstall. I click on Chrome uninstall, and it says, please close any open Chrome windows before proceeding. You've got to be
I've never had this issue before.
Kidding me.
You're not using the beta version, are you?
And
No.
You found it's a common problem?
When I Google, so then I ended up Googling, so then I was like, so there are no windows open. There's no Chrome open, there's no task open, there's no process open. I can't close anything. It's telling me to. So I'm like, what the? So then I went back to Safari, typed in Google Chrome won't open and can't, and then all of a sudden popped up uninstall, came out as a pre, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So other people were all like, I can't open it and I can't uninstall it. What do I?
Well, you can uninstall it and add remove.
No, you can't. That's what I'm saying.
Because it's telling you to close.
Yeah,
the
when I go to
window.
uninstall it, it says please close any open Chrome windows before proceeding. It can't uninstall because
Even if you do like a restart, it still says the same thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I'm
it's
just
still
like,
on your machine?
That would have my guess. I would have restarted because obviously that will stop it from this problem because it won't be running now because I restarted my computer.
Right. So it happened twice. I mean, first time it happened, I was taken back, and it took me a while to go into the registry and like delete keys to get it to like just open again. And then I was like, all right, whatever. And then I went about my life. Then again, like 2 weeks ago, Windows updated, rebooted my computer. Same exact thing happened, and I was just like, I'm never going to go through this shit ever again. So Chrome, I miss you. I use you here at work, but at home I went back. So yeah, it was really super random. All right, so let's go back to the Facebook questions real quick. Jake Meyer asks, where is EVGA been in the motherboard game?
Gordon?
They've actually gotten. I've seen. It's interesting. They have not sent boards to me for review, so I haven't seen them in a while. But I've definitely seen them in a few systems. It seems like they often are duking it out with Asus at the high end. They're very much enthusiast boards, but I don't think they have nearly the amount of sales that Asus Gigabyte or Mazrock or MSI have. They're smaller niche high end player.
Yeah.
All right, this is from our email. I'm just going to read a grab bag here, guys. Mark Hargrave from our email inbox says, why are there no worldwide giveaways? Every time you run a competition through the site, it's North America only. I mean, I'm in Australia. I'd love a chance to win something, too. Are there legal issues behind this? Do the sponsors usually want North America only? I'm a huge fan. I'd upvote the podcast, but no fucking way am I ever going near iTunes if I can help it. Okay. Speaking of contests, we actually just concluded our Main Gear gaming rig. We actually got the picture today from the winner with his system, so that's post that on Facebook tomorrow. The contests are actually kind of ours. So the people here on the podcast right now are the ones who sort of make these decisions. There's no legal person over us saying don't. We could theoretically do it with what we wanted to do, but we're a very small staff. We don't have a lot of it's usually me actually who runs these things sort of, and I have like even today. I'm trying to get ready for the new issue and Dream Machine and all these other things going on and for the magazine, and then I get these emails saying we want to do a giveaway with you guys. write up this whole thing, send it to your legal team, and it's a lot of work for us to do. And we have to turn these things down sometimes. So the ones that we do run, we have to sort of make some concessions sometimes.
Right.
So.
And it has to do with varying laws around contests and giveaways and tax implications and shipping and things like that.
Yeah, I was under the impression that there were legal implications, that we couldn't just open it to everybody in the world.
I think that here's the reason is that I'm not sure about Australia in particular, but I know that for our last one, for example, for the main gear giveaway, we didn't include Quebec. The reason being that we'd have to translate all the rules into French, and somehow including Quebec is a whole different, it adds a whole other layer of complexity to the operation.
Right.
And for our purposes, where we're just trying to, we're a small staff of people, we're just trying to get this thing, our first one we just did America only, and everyone in Canada got upset. We were sorry about that. So we tried to make some concessions to them and include Canada, but Quebec was just a little bit like a bridge too far this time around.
Right.
Same with Arizona. Arizona was also excluded for the same reason. There's just, there's tax reasons, not because we can't do it. It's just because that, due to our restrictions of our own manpower and resources, it's just not possible for us to devote all the time and energy necessary.
Well, right, and in some states and countries, a giveaway is considered like a form of gambling, right? So there's restrictions on that.
Yeah. What if we had an Australia-only giveaway?
Yeah, because they wouldn't want to compete with the whole world, would they? That'd be a lot of entries. So.
All right, this is a question from John R. He says, hey guys, love the podcast. Running a single monitor with a Samsung 27-inch monitor with a max resolution of 1920 by 1080. Would it be worth spending the money to upgrade to a monitor capable of 2560 by 1440? This is for a GTX 670. Thank you for the podcast. John in Kansas City. P.S. Don't forget all about all's Android guys out here that can't give you 5 stars on iTunes because we are not Apple honks. Thanks, John.
I think that's up to him. I mean, if he wants to.
Well, he's asking you guys. What do you think?
Well,
no.
Once you get past the 24 inches, your pixel density starts getting stretched out to a degree that most people don't like, which is why 2560 comes into the fore once you get up to the 27-inch space.
I think you're in a tough spot, John, because 1920 at 1080 looks like absolute crap at 27 inches. I went through this myself. I had the Dell 27-inch 1080 monitor. I thought, what a great deal. And then I turned it on and looked at it, and I was, pretty much in shock. I ended up upgrading to the 2560 by 1440 Dell 27-inch monitor, which is what you're looking at, sort of similar, same exact specs. The problem you're going into is that 670 is not going to be enough to push games at that resolution.
Yeah. So he's kind of in limbo there.
Yeah.
Right.
Does he say he's a gamer?
Yeah, see, that's the thing is that what I'm reading is, since he mentioned his graphics card, it means he wants it for gaming. I would not do a 27 or 30-inch, high pixel density panel unless I was doing content creation. So if you're doing a lot of Photoshop, you're doing a lot of video, you really need that real estate, and you need, just need that massive pixel density that you can get from a 30-inch or 27-inch high density panel. Then I think it's worth it, because you definitely pay a performance. Those things are a little slow for playing games, right? The 27's got to be faster. It's probably an IPS panel, or could it be a TN panel? Could be a TV panel. It's probably going to be faster.
He might, in fact, be happier with a smaller monitor that has an IPS panel. You just move it a little closer to your face, and I think they'll make up the difference.
24-inch monitors, and those are pretty nice. If you're not doing content creation where you need some sort of wide thing like that, the 670, you're gonna have to get another one of those to run SLI to basically run full resolution on that monitor. So.
What do you guys think is actually an optimal panel size for gaming, desktop gaming?
I use a 24-inch 1920 by 1080 display. I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. I
think 30 inches is like way too big, to a point where it I think it could damage your eyes.
What?
Well, it's
what?
I just think that it's just so close to you. It's can't be good.
There's a view issue.
Yeah.
You think it'll hurt your eyes, really?
Well, I know that there's studies that if you look at your monitor too long, all day, that's bad for you, and I think that's exacerbated when you have a monitor that your eye has to try to take in more. It's trying to focus.
I don't know about that. But I do think
this, looking at this all day cannot be good for you. My eyes go out of focus, and so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I have a 27-inch monitor at home. It's a Dell 2560 by 1440. And I was telling them actually today that I wish I had a little bit more monitor for when I do Photoshop stuff, but for gaming, I think it's perfect. But
You
you,
really?
you do need to have a really high-end graphics card to run games that's fully.
You have like a 690 at home, I think.
I have a 6. Well, yeah.
But you don't think the response of the pixels is terrible? Because those 30s,
Yeah.
they can be a little slow, especially compared to a smaller panel.
Well, I have
think
the
issue
one.
is that- sorry.
Go ahead, Tom.
I think the issue is that the IPS panels in general seem to have a slower response time. Just one of those.
Right. Yeah. That's a given
unavoidable.
about IPS.
Yeah.
But I mean, as you get bigger with an IPS and you pack in more pixels, it gets noticeably worse. I think, like 30-inch. That's kind of like why I still use a 1080p. Well, it's not 1080p. I use a 19 by 12 Dell panel at home. There's a U24 or whatever. It's a great panel, but I'm hesitant to move up in size because it just seems like 30s aren't as fast as a smaller IPS. I mean, TNs definitely have a leg up in response over an IPS.
Yeah.
All right, that's all the time we have for questions. We are going to jump into our editor picks now. Who wants to start? Gordon's going to go. He raised his hand.
All right, I'm going to go because everybody always says I'm just making shit up. Like I was going to go, I'm going to pick Diet Coke, but then I realized that was a cop-out. My pick for this month, or this podcast, is Charles Ramsey. For people who don't know, he is the epic McDonald's man, which I'm making that up. He's the guy who rescued those women in Cleveland, right? I'm showing the picture for people.
You have to hold it up to there, Gordon.
Yeah, I know, but
Everybody's been saying the McDonald's guy, and I'm like, who
the
is that?
McDonald's guy.
What's the connection
We're not
with
following.
McDonald's?
I haven't followed
anyway?
the story at all.
He was eating his McDonald's. He's like, damn, I'm eating these McDonald's. I've got to go rescue somebody. This guy probably rescues like 10 people a day. But he's like,
that was a
just
slow day for
eating-
him.
It's a slow day.
3
He's
days.
eating his McDonald's, and he goes and rescues these people that have been missing for 10 years.
Imagine
His McDonald's meal messed it up.
I'm gonna say the editor's picks are always getting weirder and weirder every time I go into these things.
I'm
ahead.
just giving Charles Ramsey, the epic McDonald's man.
Thank
can
you,
look it up
Gordon.
on
So do
YouTube.
people
His
go
dude-
out and get him? Like,
Are they just supposed to?
Gordon is giving
pay?
a shout out. Thank you very much, Gordon.
for rescuing those people, Charles.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
my pick is actually a product that I reviewed. It is the Lenovo IdeaPad Y500. I don't have it here, but if you're looking at the camera, here's a picture of it right there. I gave it a 9, and it has really impressive specs. So it has a Core i7 2.4 gigahertz Core i7, not one 650 GeForce card, but 2 16 gigs of RAM, a 1 terabyte hard drive, a 16 gigabyte caching SSD, and all of this for $1,200, $1,250.
It's crazy cheap, isn't it?
Yeah. So I gave it a 9. It's an amazing deal, like one of the best deals I've ever seen for a gaming laptop. It isn't perfect though. I mean, it does have some issues with the trackpad. It's not the best, and the battery life can be improved. But I mean, if you kind of just carry this around and try to use it as a desktop replacement, and just bring the charger and a mouse with you, it basically alleviates those issues. And otherwise, it's a fantastic laptop. So that's my pick.
And the cool thing is you can actually swap one of the graphics cards out of the bay, right?
Yes, so it's actually quite modular. So you can so my configuration came with a second 650 GeForce card, but you can actually swap in a fan if you wanted to. Lenovo makes these proprietary swappable bays. So they have the video card, a fan, and extra storage as well.
Did it come with an optical
And
drive?
well, you can also swap it in for optical drive. That's another bay. So it's quite modular.
That's also our new best of the best gaming laptop, I think,
Yes.
which you can check out on our website.
Yes.
We actually just updated our best of the best section, so if you ever want to see what we think is the best, do check it out. Go for it, Tom.
Yeah, my pick is the Fantex TC14PE, and that is a CPU cooler. It's an air cooler, and I mention it because I've just started using one recently after having some trouble with a water cooler because the radiator wouldn't fit in the back of the case that I was using. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't be trying water cooling altogether. So just for some variety, I put this Fantex cooler, and it's like It's like the Noctua D14. It has these large dual radiator blocks coming out and two large dual fans, and you can add a third one. And what I like about it is that it keeps my computer running really quietly. There's a super quiet cooler, and it only costs it costs like $80, so you're saving like at least 20 for a comparable water cooler, and it has like I think a 5-year warranty, and I'm just really impressed by the temperatures, and I recommend it.
Right on. Thank you, Tom. All right, so this is my. Oh, sorry. Katherine?
So, okay, mine's very simple. It's a Chrome extension. It's called Newzon, Newzon. And basically, if you buy a lot of stuff on Newegg, this extension will, along with the price of the product on Newegg, there's a tab you can hover over that'll tell you what the price is on Amazon.
Ooh.
So along with the shipping, so you can do a comparison right there and then. And in most cases, Amazon is cheaper. So I don't know. Newegg's probably not very happy about it, but anyway, it's a nifty little extension for hardware buyers.
All right, so my pick is, I've actually got a couple of them here. I got some these are like little mini picks. So number one pick, if you need more RAM for your system, is downloadmoreram.com. You can download some more RAM there. You can choose 4 gigs, 8 gigs. I think you can choose 2 gigs, 4 gigs, or 8 gigs.
What are the prices?
How much is the
It's free. You just download it.
Really?
Damn,
that is a
might as well
steal.
go for the most.
It's pretty good. The other pick I have is actually I have one more mini pick. My mini pick is there's an extension for Chrome called Panic Button, which is a lot of times all right. So check it out. You're at work, you're browsing the web, you're looking at something you shouldn't be looking at. For me, it's usually cute overload, or it could be like a daily puppy scenario, something like that. Usually it's something that's not work related, but it's not exactly out of bounds for the workplace. But still, I don't want someone to know I'm looking at it. When someone comes over your shoulder and you minimize your window, all of a sudden that looks very incriminating.
It's very obvious.
It's very obvious. You minimize your window and then turn around like, what's up? It's very obvious. So Panic Button is basically it just adds a little button to the top of your browser that just hides all open tabs. It removes them from your open window. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would recommend you guys use. Now everyone on the podcast knows that I use it. So when they come over, say hi to me and see just an empty browser window.
So what is there like does it put up a particular browser window?
On mine, on my computer, I have a when I open a new tab, it's just this is another mini pick if you want. It's a Chrome extension called Currently that I read about on our Facebook page. So it just displays an empty tab as time and weather. So that's when I press the panic button, I get an empty tab, which is weather and time.
Yeah, and you're just like, I was just staring at my clock, man.
That's what I do, man.
I was looking at my
working hard.
I was just looking at the clock, trying to decide how much work. Yeah. So, anyways, when you press the button a second time, all your tabs that were open reappear. So it's a way to hide your tracks. Not that I recommend you would be messing around at work. And then I want to do a third mini pick, which is my favorite recipes online. It's thepioneerwoman.com. And she has 398,000 followers on Twitter at the Pioneer Woman.
Is there a theme to that?
She's a woman who moved to like Montana with her husband, who wanted to become like a rancher, and she's like a city woman, so she started like living out on the open. But she's a really good photographer. She makes amazing recipes, and even though this sounds weird coming from like PC magazine, her recipes and her photography are all really, really good, and she's just a really, really funny person. So,
what recipe would you recommend the most?
She has recipes for like nachos, like sliders, like salsa. All kind. There's a whole bunch. There's like cowboy food is one section on her website. They're all really good. So, anyways, yeah, check that out. I think that's about it for our picks. And we're gonna get into Gordon's rant here. So I know Gordon's getting ready. He's revving up his hate engine.
I'm actually installing a panic button.
He's installing the panic button. So before we get to Gordon's rant, though, I want to discuss 2 quotes that I have from Gordon that I wrote down. When Gordon says something weird to me, I just write it down so I know exactly what he said and I can recall it later on. These are 2 quotes that I want to bring up. Maybe you can talk about these in your rant, Gordon. Number 1 is Gordon said this: "I agree with Apple." That was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That was yesterday. All right, that was May 6th. And then, like, right before we came in the podcast room, Gordon had this quote: "I'm pretty sure I can take down an ostrich."
Yeah, we've already...
All right. So I just want to bring those up.
It's already been talked about.
All right, I just want to bring those up as being stuff that Gordon talks about. And all right, let's do it.
Now it's time for Gordon Mah Ung's Rant of the Week.
There's this thing called the internet, right? Jesus Christ. Truly the biggest piece of email client I've ever used in my life. It doesn't hide, really, that much. I don't get shit. Holy shit. Okay, this pisses me off.
All right, should I address those two challenges? One, and I have said this, I got 10 minutes. I got fucking 10 minutes here, right? One, I have said this, I don't have a problem with some things Apple does. I actually do agree. I think they're right. I think the aspect ratio on the iPad, frankly, is better than 16:9. And I'm also, of course, on their notebooks, they're 16:9 aspect ratio, right? I actually like the Chromebook, that 3:2. I actually still like that 4:3 aspect ratio of older notebooks.
Why is that?
Because all these flat, these really narrow screens are made for watching video, right? Because you really we're all watching video on our that's all we ever do. They're so narrow you can't actually even get a full calendar without everything being squashed out of it, right? Yeah. So I need a taller screen. I don't need a wider screen. I mean, the aspect ratio is just all whacked up, which is why.
This is your rant music, I guess.
Then we have to. Somebody's going to sue us. Two, we talked about the ostrich thing. I will reiterate. This comes from The Birds, right? The whole Birds movie. The movie. Alfred Hitchcock's. Birds are not scary. Birds are not scary, right? Their bones are like hollow. I could put a fucking umpire mask on. I've got glasses, so I'm immune to fucking birds. And I've said, get a wiffle bat or even a tennis racket and just go fuck up every bird on the planet. The T-Rex of fucking birds is the ostrich. And I'm sorry, but I could take an ostrich out. Yeah, they're tough. Apparently one of them really fucked up Johnny Cash, because I looked this up. But he probably didn't expect it, right, when the fucking bird clocked him. But if I knew I was going in a battle with an ostrich, since I'm a human and I have a brain and I've got fucking arms instead of those useless little stubby wings, I could fuck that ostrich up. All right? It's called shotgun, stick, baseball bat, or a vehicle. I could run the fucking ostrich over.
What do you do when there's 50 of them coming at you at the same time?
Well, then obviously I have had time to arm myself properly to deal with the 50 ostriches.
Or Gordon just clones 50 of himself, and then it'd be like a 50 versus 50.
I don't have a problem with 50 of them. It just means I have to have a lot of shotgun shells for those ostriches.
But what about no weapons? Can you take
you're going to be running naked through the forest and you run into an angry ostrich? No.
An ostrich is taller than you also, Gordon. And they're they have
that
really...
beak?
Yeah, that beak.
Yeah, they got that beak. I've got my brain. I've got thumbs. I don't have these they can't even fly.
They've got claws.
But you don't usually carry a shotgun either.
You don't think an eagle...
How do you know?
You don't think an eagle would be a problem?
An eagle's a problem, but there aren't very many eagles, right? There's 5 fucking eagles in the world,
bald eagles, there's not that many, but there's plenty of just eagles.
Whatever.
So
I'm just saying...
You're saying an eagle might be formidable, but not an ostrich.
Let's just say if I made the game Birds, right? The end bosses would be the eagle and the ostrich, and the whole fucking game would be over. That's it. There's nothing else. Nothing gets tougher than the ostrich and the eagle. What else is there?
I agree. I'd probably say that's right. Yeah.
But I'm just sorry, but it's okay, there are scarier monsters to deal with.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So that's the ostrich thing.
Okay, what else?
All right, I got this. So now I have advice for people. When you go to the fucking food truck, right? And we had this the other day. So we go to the fucking food truck. There's these food trucks. They show up over in the parking lot. You walk over there. We get up there, and there's 4 or 5 people standing, curved, facing one direction in a line. So we stand behind them.
Because they're right in front of the truck.
Because they're in front of the truck. And then about 2 minutes later, we're like, are you in line? Oh, no, you're just fucking standing in a line, but you're not in line.
They're waiting for their food.
They're waiting for their food.
But they were standing in a curved formation.
They were kind of
that would
just a semi-curved arc.
That would indicate they're not vertically in a queue, Gordon.
It doesn't matter, but they were facing
toward the truck.
They were now, and of course, right? No. The thing is, we all ordered. Chris, Tom, Josh. We did the proper thing, right? You're 4 people. You go to order lunch. You all face into each other, so you're not even talking. Even your phone. People understand. That's not a line. That's a clump.
You're in a huddle.
Right? But these people were fucking in a line. They weren't I mean, they weren't like facing other directions, but they were like standing in line waiting for their food.
Right.
But
But it was a curve.
right, it was a curve.
So
no,
there's a
but I mean curve.
ambiguity
Like if
there.
I'm here and then somebody's here and then someone's there, right? Just slightly moved in a little, pointing toward the truck. That's a curve, right?
Yeah.
But why would you fucking do that? There's rules, and they violated them.
I think they should have said like, oh, go ahead. First of all, I think
Right.
they should have been like, oh, we're not actually in line. That's a common courtesy thing.
Right.
But I think that I mean I would think
Is
that it
this
would be
rain?
pretty obvious that they weren't waiting in line because wouldn't you see them ordering?
No.
Well, the problem is that we walked up to them. We were standing like right behind these people, and they weren't like, "Oh, we're not in line. You should go and order." They were
Yeah,
just
but
like,
if no one's talking to the teller, the cashier, then wouldn't it be obvious that
Yeah.
like these guys aren't in line?
You guys have some responsibility here.
No.
there was not somebody
Yeah,
like
I
standing
agree.
the whole
I
time
agree.
behind the
No.
cash register. There was they were moving around in the truck like back and forth, so it wouldn't really,
Right.
you know.
Usually, what I do is I ask like, "Oh, are you guys in line?" That's
Yeah.
kind of my instinct. But I think, yeah, they should have said, "Oh, we're not in line."
Well, you're right. I should have asked. You are actually in a line, but are you in line? Because you're forming a fucking line. So, are you in a line?
Maybe they didn't know each other. And
Well,
that's why
then
they weren't
why
talking
would,
to me.
if I didn't know you, would I be standing like right behind you? Like, wouldn't you think, what the fuck are you doing, dude? He's like, back up, right? And then all the other people are standing behind that person.
Yeah, we were inside their territorial bubble, but they just weren't reacting.
No, it was just, I don't know what. You know, I was saying, maybe they just do that. They get like, hey, let's just go fuck with people for lunch. Okay, let's stand in a line, but not order. We'll already ordered, then we're going to stand in line.
I can't help but agree with you because of the damn music.
Right.
Even though I don't agree with you, the music is just like.
But
damn it.
what Jimmy doesn't agree, he's never seen Office Space. And he thinks Superman 2 is better than Office Space.
Well, if he hasn't seen it, how can he have an opinion?
Well, but doesn't matter.
No.
He's saying Superman 2. What I'm saying is Office Space, and I've said this. And let me coin this phrase. Office Space is the catcher in the rye for fucking office drones, right? That's like, yeah, okay, that's our lives. It's Office Space.
I've
right?
seen The Office.
That's not the same. Not even
It's not
close.
the same.
No, what we talked about was
Screen's off.
what we talked about is the whole entire Superman 2 versus Office Space thing. Is that I think you asserted that Superman 2 is not beloved, whereas Office Space is. But I think I showed you like on both like IMDb and like Rotten Tomatoes, like Superman 2 had like a higher score.
He
from
said
the
Superman
readers.
2 is beloved, right? Superman fucking 2. Well, I don't even know what the hell was in Superman 2. Anybody?
That's Zod.
Yeah, it's General Zod.
Yeah, the guy in the leather outfit,
Is
right?
it
The-
beloved?
Yeah, by who?
I don't know what term Gordon
Somebody who
used at
loved
the
the
time.
outfits?
SWAT.
Oh, yeah.
He's swatting. He's angry. Superman 2 is better than Office Space. No.
That's not what I said.
He's beloved.
Whatever.
sorry.
You were the one who said it.
Maybe it was not the best choice of words.
Damn, what the I'm getting like all of these downloadmoreram.com. I've got like 80 of them. I
Yeah,
can't
you-
even see what they complain about.
You probably shouldn't have gone to that website. You probably have like viruses.
Oh, really?
We found out this week too.
I was looking at the website on his dealie over here. It looked a little sketchy. It looks like
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
is
a
that-
squatter website.
Is this
actually.
the website here? It looks really janky.
It looks like a
Oh,
squatter.
that's the
download
wrong
more
one.
RAM.
Oh,
Looks
download
like
more RAM.
Download more
Download
RAM.
more RAM. All right. Okay. Here we go. I got 6 minutes. 7 minutes left. Okay. Now, Josh, you understand social media. I do not understand it. You can explain this to me.
That's bullshit. Gordon's on Twitter.
No,
Or
that's
is-
not
or-
me.
or
That's a
is he?
fake Gordon Mah. All right. That's
Gordon likes
I
to
have
play this
full
stuff. I don't know.
plausible
I don't know.
I have plausible deniability. Now, let me understand this. Explain it to me. Now, if I haven't seen you in 15 years, right? I don't call you. I don't write letters. I don't like, hey, I tried to stop by, but then I post on Facebook, hey, happy birthday, Josh. Is that like okay? That makes everything okay?
Well, you know what I like
Is
about
that
Fa-
acceptable to just tell
You know
somebody
what's nice
that?
about Facebook is now when you do that, there a little link right below their timeline says buy them a gift at Starbucks or whatever. It's like it makes you feel even worse for what a dick friend you are.
No, what bugs me is that when somebody finds me on Facebook, like, hey, I haven't talked to you in like several years, and we should hang out sometime when next time I'm back in town, and I never hear from them again. I'm always like,
But
yeah,
they said happy birthday.
but-
Did they
but-
say happy birthday? Hey, happy birthday!
I always tell them,
I
yeah,
didn't.
that sounds cool. We should
I meant
do
to
that
follow up with
sometime.
you. I know. I know. I said I was going to, and I totally didn't. No.
Yeah, why bother
It's just-
even saying happy birthday?
But everybody does it. I go, it's like, oh, happy birthday to somebody. It's like, I haven't fucking seen you in 15 years. I don't, like, shit. Obviously, you don't care.
Are these people who are not Facebook friends with you and they just randomly?
No, I've noticed this
You know
going
what's-
out to look. People say happy birthday to people like,
They get a notification from Facebook that your birthday is up.
yeah, but I mean, come on.
I guess they feel like that's
just the
that's
kind
an
gestures.
No,
acceptable
hey.
form of contact when you
Yes.
really don't
To
have
answer your
anything else
question,
to
Gordon,
say.
if there's someone that I'm not that close with and I see it's their birthday, I can easily be the nice guy and just go, hey, happy birthday. But I just know that I'm being that guy who's like, I never talked to you at all, so here's the thing. So I don't do it.
Right.
Well,
Good.
isn't that the right thing to do?
It
So,
is.
but
That's the
everybody
right thing to
else
do.
just says happy birthday.
That's the right thing to do.
I can't believe that you're mad at people wishing you well, Gordon, on your day of
I'm
birth.
just saying that it's just like, hey, you're not even going to bother to call or to stop by, whatever. And then you just go like, yeah, it's like somehow it's like it's just okay, right? It's like, hey, Mom, I haven't seen you in 5 years. Happy birthday on Facebook. We're cool, okay? Like what the hell, man?
Yeah, I don't think it's cool.
You know what's funny? At my last place that I worked, we all, all the employees were all friends on Facebook, basically. So when we would go out, when people were out doing stuff in their lives and posting status updates, we'd all kind of see it. So then we come back to work on Monday, and everyone would be like, how was your weekend? And people would be all like, I posted it.
Really?
Didn't you see it? So like one of the
That's weird.
employees came over to me and she was all like, yeah, this so and so was asking me about it, but it's like, aren't you even on Facebook?
This is
Type
this
thing.
is the
But
thing
why
about
even have
Facebook.
conversation?
Here's the
Right.
thing about
Why are we even talking about this?
the thing about
That's
Facebook is a
weird.
lot of the time you put your content up on there and you never look at anybody else's stuff. You're just like, here, look at me, but you're not looking at anybody else. So then when Monday rolls around, you're like, so what were you doing? Because you're not looking at
Yeah.
Facebook.
I think it's really weird to assume that people are seeing everything out there. Like I have Facebook. I don't see everything, so.
Well, there's that too. It would probably take a while to catch up on everybody's activity over the weekend, and a lot of time you just don't give a shit.
True.
They were
By the
up to.
way,
Well,
happy
that's-
birthday, Tom.
Thank you.
No, it's not even his birthday.
It's also there, yeah. It's part narcissism too, where you're like, well, I know that everyone read my updates, obviously, because
Clearly.
I was having all this fun.
Well, you get offended if I don't want. People get like offended if you don't. Well, I don't read that fucking shit, right? Do you ever get offended?
What? Why would I? You think I'm going to come to you and Gordon and be like, hey, Gordon, you see that status update of mine? I don't give it.
Didn't you? I thought somebody said that
never
to
do
me.
that.
Probably.
I was
Like sometimes I don't use Facebook for periods of time. It's like I don't know what's going on. So
why are you dissing people like that, Jimmy?
Yeah, what?
It's cold shoulder.
I wish you happy birthday. You didn't say thanks. All right.
I always say
Very
thanks.
inconsiderate. You need to get on Facebook more. It's
We
your
also-
duty.
We also found out this week that our intern has never seen The Rock.
He's also young. He's like 21 years old, so there are some films that he's missed and will probably never see, which breaks my heart. I hope The Rock does not.
Has he seen Office Space?
He has seen Office
He's seen
Space.
Office Space. He hasn't seen the movie Airplane.
Really?
Well, didn't you introduce him to
I
that
showed him
movie?
the scene. Yeah, I showed him the scene where the two men are speaking jive, and the Mrs. Cleaver translates, and then the scene two where the little kid offers the girl some coffee and says, "Do you want cream?" And she says, "I take it black, like my men."
Did
I
you?
can't think about that movie without thinking of a bunch of quotes, and I'm like, I can't do that now. I'm in public.
Are you going to make that part of
Well, yeah,
the
so
intern
right- so right
application?
now- so
Have
actually-
you seen The Rock and Airplane?
Right, so that's what I want to bring it back to, which is right now we're actually interviewing a second intern from Canada for the summertime, and one of the questions on Facebook was, how do you become an intern? Chris isn't here, but basically what happens is usually people just email us and say, I want to be an intern. Here's my qualifications. We ask them to do a sample review for us. We ask them to just write us a cover letter. And then we're usually pretty like, if you're going to come here and do whatever we want, and you can get school credit for
Right,
it.
that's important. You have to be able to get school credit.
Right, we don't do any sort of work for free or anything like that programs here. And we also have very limited seating because we are a small staff with a small office. So right now we have one guy, Chris. We're going to he's going to split his time, I think, with a new guy. So we're kind of maxed out for the summertime.
Yes. But you're eating on my fucking time. I have like 1 minute left.
Oh, okay.
So my last fucking complaint.
Go ahead.
This is about Facebook again, right? So Facebook, as we know, knows everything about you, right? Because they're keeping everything. They're violating your privacy. Blah, blah. That's what I read all the time, right? So what the fuck is it whenever I log into Facebook, which I only do once in a while, but look at the ads I get. I mean, look at these fucking ads.
There are lots of ads.
There are extensions you can use to get rid of the ads.
No, but just saying, but look, the ads I'm getting. If Facebook knows everything about me, boyfriend wanted, crazy linguistics video, meet local woman. They're like
Well.
these. It's like a Hooters restaurant, right?
Right.
Well,
Maybe you are.
I'm married with kids.
That's
I don't
why.
need to see this shit.
maybe
No, but
you
I mean,
could,
what?
Check your
I don't get
search
it.
history.
They obviously, I mean, whatever they're saying, that's all bullshit.
All right, I took a picture. I'm gonna try and show it to the camera here. Let's see if we can. I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can see it or not, but we'll zoom it up here. If you can see that at all. So.
But don't you? I mean, what? They don't know shit. They don't know shit. If that's what they're serving.
I like how this one says crazy linguistics video, and there's a girl wearing like a super tight top on it.
Yeah, I don't think that's about linguistics.
What is this about linguistics exactly?
Oh, I just got another one for Tahoe Super Pass. I can't ski. I don't ski. Why am I getting this?
Maybe they're trying to broaden your
Gordon,
horizons.
you're actually you're admitting this information in public is a grave mistake because they're just showing ads based on what you're typing in as content into Facebook.
Yes.
So obviously there's something going on here that you should be.
Oh yeah, because I'm looking
really-
up. I'm looking up skiing.
I'm
I
just
don't.
saying you might be looking up.
No,
local
see, this is
women.
correct. There is an ad for Ultrathon, another editor pick of mine. It's an excellent bug repellent developed for the U.S. military. If you don't like mosquitoes, get some.
It would be funny if
So-
the.
But the rest of the stuff, what?
It would
Where
be
the fuck is that from?
It would be really funny if the ads were for like anger management, iPad,
Right.
MacBook.
But no, they're not. But what? Right? It doesn't make any sense.
Maybe next week they will be.
All right. Well, that's about all the time we have. Thank you guys for coming to the podcast room. Thank you all for listening too. We'll do our end of the show thing. Check us out online. We are online, of course, maxpc.com. We're at Twitter and Facebook. So like I said, we're at 395 ratings on iTunes. If you have a moment, please go give us a ranking. If you want to be on the show, send us an email, maximumpcpodcast@gmail.com. You can also send us a message on our 24-hour no BS hotline. If it's basically you leave us a voicemail, the service will send us a WAV file and we'll play it on the air if it's short and to the point. Please do that. We like playing those a lot. Number is 1-877-404-1337, extension 1337. Subscribe on Google Play, iTunes, Kindle, Nook, Zinio, and we're still in print. On behalf of Gordon Ung, Jimmy Thang, Tom McNamara, and Katherine Stevenson, thanks for listening. See you guys next time.